Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is KPZ. You're here on the home of the Slightly Above Average Ship Review. I got a match for you today in the USS Wisconsin. And we're on... Is this Tears of the Desert? Well, whatever. We're on this map. I'm going to say right in the beginning that although you would think the Wisconsin is easy to perform well in, we are on tiers. We're top tier in the Wisconsin, and there is an aircraft carrier in the match. No destroyers, thankfully. I want to say I think Spartan might be trying to get a 300K game in this thing. We don't come anywhere near that. It does have unlimited main battery reload booster. Unfortunately, I don't think I've remembered that at certain times during the match. So we're moving out. I don't know why I'm re-looking at the teams. There is a Wisconsin on the enemy team. Blah, blah, blah. Let's go into the history of the ship. The Wisconsin is an Iowa-class battleship built for the United States Navy and is currently a museum ship in Norfolk, Virginia. Blah, blah, blah. Assigned to the Pacific Theater, participated in the Philippine campaigns and the Battle of Iwo, also known as Iwo Jima, and Okinawa. The battleship shelled the Japanese home island shortly before the end of the war. During the Korean War, Wisconsin shelled North Korean targets in support of UN and South Korean ground operations. Afterwards, after the war was decommissioned, reactivated, modernized, and participated in Operation Desert Storm. A total of 6 battle stars, which I guess they stopped doing after Vietnam, and a Navy unit commendation for the Gulf War, stricken from the Naval Register in 2006. All right, so obviously we don't have the modernized Wisconsin here. I also forgot to hit the gas, so we're at half ahead in terms of our propulsion, so that's why there's nothing going on right now, and I have plenty of time to read the ship's history. Maybe I need to write the Secretary of War and ask him to bring back battle stars for U.S. warships. They sound a lot cooler than just a unit commendation or whatever. Although you can't wear battle stars on your uniform. And I believe you can wear one ribbon that your unit is authorized. So if your unit got like some kind of award or ribbon, you could wear the ribbon on the right side of your uniform. It's been a long time since I was in the military, and even longer since I had to recall uniform regulations, so I think that's what it is. But yeah, you can wear one unit commendation, and so maybe that's why they did away with battle stars, because some overweight generals and admirals wanted more fruit salad to put on their shit. Who knows? All right, we got an Iowa out there. Even though it's my sister ship, it is down here. If that makes sense to you, Wargaming is looking to hire new developers, so whatever, man. All right, there's the Iowa. We've got HE loaded because it's bow on, and I'm smart. And we're going to shoot here at the Iowa. Didn't even launch my spotter. Pretty good HE hit there. Did about 9K worth of damage. We'll hit, belatedly, our main battery reload booster. And we've got a cruiser. So I'm going to rejigger for the shill really quickly and shoot at the shill. And switch to armor piercing. And the shill predictably ran into the Iowa. And is turning because it ran into the Iowa. So I'm just going to retarget the Iowa here, which isn't going as planned. We launch our spotter or observation seaplane or whatever it's called. And we get another hit there on the Iowa. Actually, that was probably a better hit. I don't know. I didn't pay attention to how much damage we did to the shill, so that may all be mere speculation. The Iowa looks like it's about dead, so I am more focused on the shill at this point. There is another battleship. I think it's the enemy Wisconsin out off our starboard bow near those two islands where they intersect, but since it is not visible, I am going to aim at the shill instead. Front two turrets only. And we're going to turn to get the third turret, and we crank out those shells as well. We unlocked our improved main battery dispersion because we went over 30k of damage. I don't think I've ever talked about this, but how these epic mods work, and presumably the legendary ones as well. It'll give you a benchmark, and for every time you exceed the benchmark, which in this case is 30k damage, you get a boost to, I believe, for us, it's dispersion. All right. Still aiming at the shill, waiting for that last turret to reload. We're going to lead him a proximate amount. We're also in a minute going to hit our heel there. We are capping a base. That was definitely not the result I was hoping for. We've got another 15k to go before we can unlock our next boost. I am turning against my turrets to avoid fire from my port side. And all I'm looking to do is get some shells out on the shill as we get an assisted base cap. And we're not going to have a chance because somebody else kills the shill. All right, just checking our perimeter. A Catalunya off there to our... Oh, we've got a battleship out here. A Bismarck giving me most of the broadside. Catalunya got smashed by somebody. We did not do a ton of damage on Bismarck, so we're going bow on to these three enemy ships that we have to choose from. A Niord. I don't think I tried to get the Niord, so I don't have that. Catalunya not giving us a great profile to shoot at. Why would I bother using the main battery reload booster? I'm not broadside. All right, we shot at Catalunya anyway. One of my teammates said, help that guy. Devastating strike, hit the Citadel. Kill number 1 on the Catalunya. All right, you can't show broadside to a battleship, dude. You should know that. All right, Bismarck out here, still our primary target. Still not using the main battery reload booster because I'm not broadside. Hey, the Niord looks like a great target who's not doing anything. So we're going to shoot at Niord with armor piercing, and we'll get that third turret off. And now we'll hit the main battery reload booster because there's a reason to. By the way, we're up to 95k damage. So you can see we have 3 iterations of boost from our epic mod. Another full salvo toward Niord. And we take him down to the very last nub, and he is burning, so somebody else is going to get that kill. As predicted. Alright, Bismarck is out there. And Bismarck is about dead. We launch our spotter plane, and we're going to, piece by piece, aim very poorly at Bismarck and pretty much miss, although we did... Oh, never mind, we did get the kill. Alright, there is the enemy Wisconsin. I know you were hoping for a Wisconsin on Wisconsin battle. He hit me pretty good right there through the bow plating, but he turned away, so I'm not really enticed by that. So I may end up shooting at him right here. Because he is turning and going to give us the broadside. Full salvo out. And let's see what those shells do. They looked great. They didn't do a ton of damage. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Why am I shooting at Wisconsin when I could be shooting at an aircraft carrier, which has way more hit points? So, only in a video game, but I am going to totally disregard Wisconsin and turn away and show him my stern. And instead, I'm going to start targeting the almost full health Lexington. And I had stupidly loaded HE. Well, I'm going to rectify that ASAP. Or not. Am I going to even load armor piercing? Good grief. Alright, I finally belatedly switched to armor piercing. I played this match right when I woke up this morning, and I have to admit that maybe my brain was not fully engaged. Anyway, the Lexington went into the boundary, so he's trapped. Wisconsin is shooting at a cruiser, and so that's good for me. Wisconsin is dead. The last remaining ship is the Lexington. And so we're just waiting for our opportunity to kill while we are shooting down some of the Lexington's airplanes. Alright, first salvo, we're going to go right behind the island there. That's the name of that part of the carrier. As you can see, we did a fair amount of damage. We're up to 147k. And I could really use a main battery reload booster right about now. As you can see, there's about 6 seconds difference. So we are going to actually engage it as soon as it becomes active. And the Lexington is trying to back away from the border, and we will fire the penultimate salvo. I think that's the right word. Anyway, hit to Citadel. And we got another kill. All right, here we are on the victory screen in the Wisconsin. 155,297 total damage. Definitely capable of more. If you had someone who was awake and not understanding, you had unlimited main battery reload boosters. 3 kills, 3 assisted kills, 2 Citadel hits, 1 assisted base cap. 421,697 silver, 8,400 ship XP, 8,900 commander XP in the Wisconsin with Azure Lane, New Jersey, which is who I recommend. Here we are at the top of the board. 1 medal, 3 kills, 3,043 base XP. Yes, that's a pretty good match, if I say so myself. But clearly, we only lost 1 member of our team. So our team kind of spanked them. But this ship is definitely capable of more in more capable hands. Let's go back to the port and take a look at the ship. In terms of the upgrades, we went with AA Guns Mod 2. Damage Control System Mod 2. Concealment System Mod 1. And Artillery Plotting Room Mod 2, the Epic mod. As you can see, for every 30k damage, you get plus 2% to dispersion, or minus 2%. It becomes more accurate. How about that? All right. In terms of loadout, you got HE and AP. Unlimited damage control parties. 3 charges of a repair party. 4 charges of the observation seaplane. You could swap that out for Catapult Fighter, which I would never do, or the Enhanced Secondary Targeting, which I would also never do. Sorry, I developed a cough. Unlimited main battery reload booster, you could swap that out for 4 charges of DFA, but why would you do that? Unless you were intentionally trying to handicap yourself. All right, we were using the Epic Battle Booster for main battery range, movement speed, and a reduction in cooldown time. Type 9 permanent camo. It does have another camo called Big Whiskey, but I don't know what it looks like. So there. And the Wisconsin flag. Take a look at the specs. 75,500 hit points, a 40% torpedo damage reduction, and a 41% fire resistance, which is up from 40%. All right, you got 3 triple 406 millimeter turrets, firing range 19.3 kilometers, up from a base value of 17.4. Reload in 36 seconds. Turn time is slightly increased from 45 to 34.6 seconds. Shell grouping value 2.2 up from a base value of 2, and all this dispersion is slightly better than stock. HE shells do 5,700 max damage with a 36% fire chance and pen 68 millimeters of armor. AP shells do 14,690 max damage with our build, up from 13,000. They point blank pen 801 millimeters. They max pen at max range, 511 millimeters, down from 530. And I'm not quite sure why they do that. But anyway, fuse arming threshold 68 millimeters, probably something in the commander build. We'll look at that afterwards. Secondary armament, 10 twin 127s. Fire out to 5 kilometers, reload every 6 seconds. Shell grouping value of 1. And HE shells do a max 1,800 damage with a 5% fire chance and pen 21 millimeters of armor. All right, AA defense. Your secondary battery is dual purpose and is your longest reaching AA, up to 6 kilometers from 5 kilometers. Your best AA is the 40 millimeter Bofors Mark II, which does 383 damage per second. Maneuverability 31.2 knots, that's hampered by our commander build. 920 meter turning circle, 17.2 second rudder shift time. So I guess you could call it just short of a fast battleship. Concealment 13.6 on the surface, 11.4 from the air, 15.3 if you ever found yourself inside of a smokescreen. All right, taking a look at the stats. I have played 25 matches in Wisconsin, and I have to say they haven't been great. This ship really just didn't really click with me. As you can see, I still don't get that the main battery reload booster works all the time. We're averaging half of a kill and just under 70k damage per match. The last match you just saw was my best match in Wisconsin. Onto the armor viewer, please. All right, so this is pretty standard for a higher tier US battleship. We're going to take this all off and see an underwater citadel with varying levels of armor thickness on the roof. Barbettes are more heavily armored out of the casemate, and turret faces are sloped and heavily armored. That's about the standard for turret and barbette armor, in my opinion. Casemate armor includes the 307 millimeter armor belts protecting the lower part of the barbettes. The front plating is 32 millimeters, and the torpedo side plating may act as a sort of spaced armor, and that is the armor profile of the Wisconsin. I don't even know how I got this ship anymore. All right, let's take a look at the commander that I recommend. Azure Lane, New Jersey. Base rate freedom through firepower. Shells that travel over 10 kilometers deal 5% extra damage. We've got Cunningham for shell grouping and Otto Ciliax for another 5% AP shell damage. Row 1 Flammable Cannoneer for range and shell grouping. Row 2 Gyrating Drill Bits for traverse speed and shell damage. Row 3 Firefighter. Row 4 the unique skill Don't You Just Love It? More damage with Citadel strikes and a buff to the dispersion. And we went with Fight Fire with Fire as our legendary skill. Anyway, that is the Wisconsin, ladies and gentlemen. Love to hear what you think about the ship in the comments below. Thanks for watching.